Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video you will see something different from my previous videos. It's not pure scare modeling but something similar. So in this video I show you how I fixed my DJI Mini2 drone, and after that how I decorated it with a grey nurse shark mouth paint job. Unfortunately I had a mid-air collision with a pigeon, and one of the front arms of the drone was broken. I could land safely and the drone was able to fly, but it needed to be fixed. From the internet I ordered a spare right front leg with motor, so all I had to do was to replace it. Now remember, if you break the warranty stickers, you may lose your warranty, so if you are within this period, it's better to ask an official repair shop to do this job for you. First, I highly recommend keeping the camera protector in place. The gimbal is a sensitive part of the drone. I removed all the propellers because in the end I replaced them with a fresh set. The top cover is secured with 4 screws in the 4 corners, and there are 2 more screws for the bottom cover under the battery door. Be careful when you pop the top and the bottom covers, they are pretty fragile and you don't want to break them. They are lightweight, thin plastic covers. I use guitar picks and fine flat screwdrivers for this process. Under the bottom cover there is a heat shield that helps to keep the drone cool. This shield is secured with 3 screws, 2 on the top and 1 is in the left side under a small white circular sticker. There are 2 antennas in the front legs. I detached the broken arm's grey antenna cable from the circuit board. I also detached the GPS IMU unit for better access to the cables. It's secured with 3 screws. Also, a black and white cable is connected to the status LED from the circuit board. I disconnected it for better access to the rest of the wires. The motor cables are glued to the inside of the drone. It's a bit of butcher work to cut them off. I did it carefully because I wanted to keep them safe as the motor was in a working condition, so I could use it later. Now I could solder off the 3 motor cables from the circuit board. Red, black and white cables. Don't use extremely hot soldering iron. You don't want to bake the other electronic components. The leg attached pivot was secured with 2 screws. All I had to do after I released the screws was push the pivot out from the leg. It was quite easy to push it out, but it wasn't easy to install it back. Okay, that's it. I pulled out the cables and the broken leg was free. Now I had to do the same things but backwards. I placed the new leg into the socket. To push the pivot back wasn't easy. There is a certain position when the pivot could slide back to the correct position. I needed to use a bit of force to install it back. Then I secured it with the 2 black screws. Soldered the 3 wires back to the circuit board. The order of the cables is very important. Connected the antenna cable on the underside, then put the shield back and secured it with 3 screws. Then I placed the bottom and finally the top cover of the drone. Be sure all the screws are properly tight, but not over tight. So the drone was ready, but I couldn't resist decorating it a bit. My all-time favorite shark mouth decoration on an aircraft is the Royal Australian Air Force Spitfires from the World War II era. The grey nurse Spitfires. This is what inspired me to make this decoration. I built one grey nurse Spitfire before. If you are interested, you can check the full build video and the cockpit build video on my channel, just click the links. With a soft pencil I drew the pattern on the drone to see what I want to apply. After a dozen iterations I found the right mouth shape. I used a wide 40mm wide Tamiya masking tape, applied it, and with a sharp hobby knife I cut the shape out. It was good for 2 things. The mask left on the drone was ready for the paint, and the cut out piece was a good reference to design the teeth. So I put it on a cutting mat and designed the teeth on it. The rubber was my good friend again. I tried hundreds of teeth while I found the right jaw. Again, I used sharp hobby knife to cut them out. On the drone, of course, I cleaned the surface with isopropyl alcohol and applied a layer of primer. Then I painted it white. I used Mr. Color White. Mr. Color paints are quite resilient, perfect for this job. I waited a day to set the paint properly, and then I put the teeth masks over the white paint. After the deadly jaw mask was ready, I painted it black and again let it dry properly. It looked already cool to me, but I borrowed my daughter's fine Posca markers and made fine details. It was easier to use markers than mask and paint. The red gum brought the whole thing alive. Finally, I outlined it with a fine black marker. The eyes were critical. I wanted to make them not evil, but I needed some serious look that warns all the birds around. So again, I tried a couple of designs, then I used white, red and black markers to draw them. The very last step was a layer of protector varnish. After the repair and decoration, I installed a fresh set of propellers and it was done. I reconfigured the compass and the IMU. You can do it easily in the DJI app on your phone. All you have to do is just follow the instructions on the screen. The most important thing in aviation, any kind of aviation, is safety. It doesn't matter if it's a 250-gram drone or a jumbo jet. Safety is first. So I went to a safe place and tested the drone. It worked properly. It's very important that you should hold the right licenses and know your drone, know the local rules and regulations to operate your drone safely. I hope you guys liked this unique, a little bit different video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share and hit the subscribe with the little bell and you won't miss the next videos. Thanks for watching and see you next time.